This is Paul for Redneck Sports. I believe that everybody should win in life, or at least attempt to. The first three maxims of General Robert Neyland's game maxims, I believe apply to everybody. The team that makes the fewest mistakes will win. Play for and make the breaks. When one comes your way, score. If at first the game or the breaks go against you, don't let up. Put on more steam. Welcome to the channel. Now let's discuss some sports. Like, subscribe, comment. Show what your opinion is. Let me know if you like what you've seen. And I thank you for your support. You know, the WNBA has a shot right now to have a different final half of the season. Except for the players who are going to be playing in the Olympics, which most likely this will just be a small interlude for. Those players that weren't picked for the Olympics, some of which were idiotic not to have them, but those that weren't chosen can relax, fix, or make sure that any of their physical ailments are handled and practice. And I'll tell you the reason why I'm bringing this up, and part of it was from my watching some of the All-Star game. So we're going to talk about what I saw and why I'm saying some of the things that I'm saying. Okay. If you've listened to any of my previous videos, one of the things that you will notice that I will make comments about, and also if you watch basically blooper reels of the WNBA over the years, you will see that other people have the same problem. These ladies, though talented, I am not saying that they're not talented. I am not saying that they couldn't beat me in a basketball game, because I am well aware of my shortcomings when it comes to basketball. I'm out of shape, though I'm not, obese or anything, and I wear glasses. So I'm not an ideal basketball player. But come on, if you're playing basketball to this amount, why are you missing so many shots? Seriously, I watched the All-Star game, and these ladies are missing so many shots that it's not even funny. Now, don't get me wrong, there's more defense, but these ladies need to start this break by getting in there and practicing their shooting. And it needs to become a consistent thing. They need to start practicing their shooting, because it's starting to look bad. It's when you watch a game and they're missing easy shots, that's not a good thing. It's making the entire league look bad, and it's not. It's just no consistency. I mean, I like Caitlin Clark. I like Angel Reese's playing. The double-double stuff was cool. I like some of these players. They're attempting to do good things. They're attempting to stay out of the politics. They're just attempting to play basketball. They're trying to make a living for themselves. They're trying to make a career for themselves, not just in basketball, but in other ways. But you need to start with being able to actually hit your shots a lot more. That's the first thing that they need to start working on. Now, here's something else, and part of this comes from the fact that they start the WNBA season, the preseason camp for the WNBA season, while college is still going on. Seriously, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese didn't have a chance to actually finished their season worth the flip before they were straight into having to deal with preseason camps for the WNBA. Teamwork is not being stressed. I mean, on top of the fact of, okay, they can't afford to pay these players. Let's go into that, number one. Because they can't afford to pay these players to quite the level that can cause them to want to stick around, they're constantly having to bounce back and forth between teams, which is causing them to be unable to build up rapport. Building rapport will build teamwork. You have so many women that play basketball with Caitlin Clark. When she does these passes, they just completely whiff. They miss things that quite literally are going in their hands. They're just not being able to handle it. This is another area that needs to be worked on, not just for the Fever, but for the entire WNBA. There needs to come to a point, since they're talking about, hey, we're getting more money, you need to spend more time building up rapport between the players. Now, if you notice, Caitlin Clark and the rest of the Fever are starting to work better. They're starting to win better. They're starting to edge up to possibly having a winning season. It may not get them much, but they could possibly have a winning season. May only be like by a game or two, but they have a chance. This is what makes people not enjoy the WNBA. And so during this break, anybody who's not at the Olympics needs to be spending time with their other teammates, no matter what team you're part of, and getting to know each other and getting to understand how y'all are playing basketball, so you can make all the adjustments that are necessary. This is another area that needs to be worked on. Not just these 2 weeks, but these 2 weeks needs to be important for that. Here's an area that the WNBA needs to start working on. And it can be worked on partially during this time. And they need to be sitting down, since they've got a break. They had a WNBA's player survey, and they're like, oh, we need to work on salaries. And okay, you can't do any of that if you've not got money coming in. The first thing that you've got to start working on is marketing. I hate to tell folks with the WNBA, yes, we're talking about you a little bit more, but you're still failing. The reason you're still failing is because you're not marketing yourselves correctly. The voices that people are hearing are not causing us to go, okay, this is interesting to me. You're not doing that. Caitlin Clark has become such a phenomenon, not because she is constantly out there talking about salaries, not constantly out there talking politics. She's a phenomenon because she's out there talking basketball, and she's always seen in a positive light. Even when people ask stupid questions and act awkward around her, she still acts like a humble, attentive person. That is drawing viewers to her, not to anybody else. I'm not saying you have to be humble, but she's the most recognized WNBA player right now. I'm not saying market around her, I'm saying market with her. Market with Angel Reese. Marketing. Not doing something stupid, but using her inside of a marketing campaign. If you're thinking that Cameron Brink will come back, if she is going to come back, start marketing with her. Stress your younger players. I hate to tell you this, but your younger players are who's getting you noticed, not your older players. If you were going to get noticed already, they would have been able to do it. They haven't been. Start using your younger players. People know them. Marketing needs to start now. You need to start figuring out. You don't need to start advertising right this minute, but what you need to do is figure out during this time, okay, how can we do this a little bit better? How can we capitalize here? Whatnot. Marketing starts now. All the planning starts now. Quit talking about LGBT. Quit talking about underpaid, because players, I hate to tell you, you're part of the marketing, and if you constantly talk about that you're underpaid when you're paid more than most Americans, I hate to tell you, you sound silly. You work less than most Americans and you make more than most Americans right now. So quit that silliness and start getting to the point that you are approaching to being what people want to see. So marketing is your last thing that you need to start working on. Now, do I honestly believe that any of these things are going to be done by the WNBA? Supposedly, they're already being done. But they ain't working. Seriously. USA Basketball lost millions because the talking heads of the women's basketball groups around the nation don't want Caitlin Clark to have anything to do with anything because they have their preconceptions. Marketing is still going to be forwarded in the way that it's been forwarded, and they can't figure out why it's not working. The players are still going to whine and moan, oh, we're not paid enough money, we should have revenue sharing. Well, considering the WNBA is in debt and has to be bailed out every year, there is no revenue. You owe money if you want to do real revenue sharing. It comes down to this. The players need to become players. Now, part of it's WNBA's fault, the team's fault. You want to know why it's the team's fault? They don't have dedicated facilities for these players. They don't. And that needs to change. These players need to feel like they're part of a team. And if they feel like they're part of a team, they're going to feel like they should put a little bit more into it. I'll admit to that. But what I won't admit to is that these players have any right to revenue sharing when there is no revenue, when there's actually debt, when they're having to become charity cases when you enter the WNBA. Which you are. One of the few players who is making money, who is not a charity case, and is making money for the WNBA is Caitlin Clark. And I'm going to keep bringing her up. Angel Reese could be, if she will stop playing the villain. When I said that it's the younger players that need to be focused on, I'm not joking, because the older players in the league, other than Sabrina Ionescu, has shown that they're willing to let the WNBA fail because they won't do things differently. Well, if you don't do these three things starting now, you're going to keep, no matter what bump that Caitlin Clark has brought, no matter how much fun it is to read up on Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, you're not going to get anywhere. The league is going to go back to the way it was. So either decide to make changes or don't, but you're just failing yourself. This has been Paul with Redneck Sports. Y'all have a good day now. Bye.